That carving is 3,000 years old. Electrical engineers who have studied it say it depicts a functioning arc lamp, the glass envelope, the filament support, the electrical connection. Egyptologists say it depicts a lotus flower and a serpent. One of them is wrong. And that disagreement between what the evidence shows and what the established record allows is exactly what this episode is about. History is not just what happened, it is what survived. And throughout history, certain discoveries, certain inventions, certain knowledge was buried, destroyed, suppressed, or locked away, sometimes by accident, sometimes very deliberately. These are 5 of them. In approximately 50 AD, a Greek mathematician and engineer named Hero of Alexandria built a device he called the Aeolipile. He mounted a hollow metal sphere on a rotating axis above a sealed vessel of water. As the water boiled, steam entered the sphere through the axis and escaped through 2 curved nozzles, causing the sphere to spin. It was a reaction steam turbine, a working engine powered by steam, 2,000 years before James Watt. Hero did not treat it as a toy. His surviving writings describe the engineering principles behind it in precise detail. He understood thrust, rotation, and the conversion of heat into mechanical work. The Roman Empire at this moment had the iron working capability, the fuel supply, and the engineering knowledge to scale this device into a working engine. They had everything required to launch an industrial revolution 17 centuries before it actually happened. They chose not to. The Roman economy was built on slave labor, an essentially free workforce that made mechanical labor-saving devices economically pointless. Historians who have studied the period argue that Rome did not suppress the steam engine out of fear, but out of simple economic indifference. Why invest in a machine when you have millions of slaves? The Aeolipile was noted, recorded, and set aside. Hero's manuscripts survived. The application did not. What makes this genuinely uncomfortable is the calculation of what was lost. The Industrial Revolution, when it finally arrived in Britain in the 1760s, transformed human civilization within a single century. If Rome had pursued Hero's engine, if one engineer in the ancient world's greatest intellectual center had been given the resources to scale his steam turbine, the timeline of human history changes entirely. We will never know how far it would have gone. The decision was made for us 1,700 years before we were born. In 1961, Romanian archaeologist Nicolae Vlasa was excavating a Neolithic site near the village of Tartaria when he found 3 small clay tablets in a ritual pit. The tablets were inscribed with symbols, abstract marks, geometric shapes, a figure that looked like an animal, a branch-like form. Vlasa compared them to known ancient writing systems and immediately recognized what he was looking at. The symbols matched early Sumerian pictographs. The problem was the date. Carbon dating of the bones found in the same pit returned a date of approximately 5,300 BC. That is 2,100 years before the earliest known Sumerian writing, previously considered the oldest writing system on Earth. If the symbols on the Tartaria tablets constitute writing, they rewrite the entire history of human communication. The birthplace of writing would not be Mesopotamia, it would be Romania. The academic establishment's response was immediate resistance. The mainstream position became that the symbols were decorative or ritualistic, not true writing, that the similarity to Sumerian was coincidence, that the dating was contaminated. Vlasa spent years defending his findings. The tablets were placed in the National History Museum of Transylvania in Cluj-Napoca, and access to them for independent researchers has been severely restricted ever since. Full modern analysis using current technology has never been publicly completed. The tablets sit in an archive. The question they raise sits unanswered. In the crypts of the Dendera temple in Egypt, carved into the walls approximately 2,000 years ago, there are a series of bas-relief images that have divided researchers for over a century. The carvings show large elongated bulb-shaped objects, supported on insulator-like pedestals, connected by what appear to be cables to a device that Egyptologists identify as a jed pillar. Inside each bulb is a serpent. The bulbs are held and tended by human figures. In 1969, electrical engineer Walter Garn published an analysis analysis comparing the Dendera reliefs to a Crookes tube, an early form of electrical arc lamp developed in the 1870s. His conclusion was that the reliefs depicted a functioning electrical light source, the glass envelope, the filament represented by the serpent, the insulating pedestal, and the power source. Austrian engineer Peter Krause built a working replica of what the relief depicted, using only the visual information in the carvings. When connected to a power source, it produced light. The mainstream Egyptological position has never formally engaged with these engineering analyses. The official interpretation remains that the reliefs are purely mythological: a lotus flower, a serpent deity, standard Egyptian religious iconography. No Egyptian text has been found that describes the objects as light sources. No physical evidence of electrical generation has been found at Dendera. The engineering case is compelling. The historical case is absent. Both things are true simultaneously, and the question has remained open for over 50 years because neither side can definitively close it. In the final years of the Second World War, inside a classified underground facility in Lower Silesia, Nazi scientists were working on a project so secret that it was given the highest classification level in the Third Reich, above even the nuclear program. Witnesses who survived described a device they called Die Glocke, the bell, a bell-shaped metal casing approximately 3 meters tall, containing 2 counter-rotating cylinders filled with a substance described as metallic and mercury light, which glowed violet blue when the device was powered. The primary source for Die Glocke is Polish intelligence officer Igor Witkowski, who claims to have accessed classified Soviet interrogation transcripts in 1997. According to those transcripts, the device produced effects that included the deaths of several scientists from an unknown cause during early tests, the rapid decomposition of organic matter within its operational field, and what witnesses described as a disorientation of gravity or space within the active zone. The SS classification for the project was Kriegsentscheidend, war decisive, the highest possible level. What makes Die Glocke impossible to dismiss entirely is what happened at the end of the war. Before Allied forces reached the facility, the SS executed every scientist who had worked on the project, 62 people. All documentation was destroyed or removed. The bell itself disappeared. A transport aircraft capable of carrying a large payload flew out of the facility days before Allied arrival and was never traced. The concrete test rig, the structure they called the henge, was left behind. It still stands. The device it was built to hold does not. In the ancient Sanskrit texts of India, the Rig Veda, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, and most specifically a text called the Vaimanika Shastra, there are detailed descriptions of flying craft called Vimanas. The texts do not describe them as the chariots of gods in vague, metaphorical language. They describe them in engineering terms, specific materials, specific propulsion methods, operational instructions. The Vaimanika Shastra devotes chapters to the metals required, the construction of the Mercury vortex engine, the operational altitudes, and the defensive capabilities of different Vaimana classes. The Vaimanika Shastra was rediscovered in 1904 when a Sanskrit scholar named Pandit Subbaraya Shastri claimed to have transcribed it from memory after receiving it in a psychic vision from the ancient sage Maharishi Bharadvaja. Whether this origin story is credible, the text itself is extraordinary. It contains engineering specificity that goes far beyond what any religious or mythological text requires. A 1974 aeronautical study by the Indian Institute of Science assessed the craft designs and concluded they were not aerodynamically feasible as described, but the study also noted the sophistication of the conceptual framework and the specificity of the material science. What is documented and not disputed is this: during the British colonial period in India, an estimated 100,000 Sanskrit manuscripts were systematically removed from temples, universities, and private collections across the subcontinent. Many were shipped to Britain. Many were destroyed. The full scope of what was in those manuscripts, what knowledge, what technical specifications, what history, has never been fully cataloged. Scholars who have spent their careers working through what survived estimate that the lost material dwarfs what remains. The Vimana texts that exist today are fragments. What was destroyed may have contained the context that made them comprehensible. We will never recover it. 5 discoveries, each one advanced enough to be dangerous. Each one dealt with the same way: removed, locked away, suppressed, or burned. Hero's steam engine, set aside because slave labor made it economically inconvenient, and 17 centuries of potential progress went with it. The Tartaria tablets, the oldest possible writing on Earth, sitting in a restricted archive while the question of where human civilization truly began goes unanswered. The Dendera reliefs, carvings that electrical engineers say depict a working light source source in a temple built 2,000 years before electricity. Die Glocke, a classified Nazi device whose entire scientific team was executed before Allied forces arrived, taking everything they knew with them. And the Vimana manuscripts, ancient Indian engineering texts describing flying craft in technical detail, most of which were destroyed or removed during colonial occupation and never recovered. The ancient world knew things. Some of those things were lost by accident, some were taken, some were deliberately erased. What we have left is what survived, and what survived is already extraordinary. What was lost may have been more so. If this episode raised questions you want to go deeper on, the full series is in the playlist linked above. Every episode covers what history left behind. Subscribe, and we will keep finding it.